So today, we honor Vince Steele, the Jurassic Juggernaut, a man whose presence in the ring wasn't just as powerful, his presence in the ring was just as powerful as his heart outside of it. Today, the reason why I'm doing this is not to put myself over or to get followers or likes or anything like that. The reason why I'm doing this is because this man is my age. He's 39 years old, just like me. And he's got a family. And I want his kids, because I got a son. And I could never imagine leaving my son. So I want his kids and I want his family to be able to come back here and look at this forever. Because he wasn't a WWE guy. He's not an AEW guy. And he's not going to be on the WWE network or anything crazy like that. You know, on Busted Open, respect to Busted Open, they're not talking about Vince Steele, right? But I'm going to talk about Vince Steele today because I knew Vince Steele. Vince Steele was on the Tristan Law Show in season 1. So today you're going to hear from Vince himself through some clips of Vince Steele, you know, some just going through his interview and talking about his life. I want when his friends and family and fans come back to this episode, you're going to be able to hear about Vince Steele's life directly from him. You're not going to be able to read about it that somebody typed it up from someplace else. You're going to be able to hear it directly from his voice. You're also going to hear from some people that knew about him. I got some text messages that people want me to read. I got some voice messages, and I got some people that I'll be calling on the phone. But to start everything off, I have a good friend Cheyenne Ortiz, the voice, one of the premier voices in pro wrestling. Cheyenne, it's a tough time, man.
Tough is the word. Tough is in fact the word. First and foremost, Tristan, thank you for doing this. Thank you for having me. It's hard for me to look at the camera right now, so I don't want to be rude to anybody watching. Tragedy struck the pro wrestling business yesterday afternoon when my friend Vince Steele passed away. I haven't made any statements on Facebook or anything like that or memories because I'm really just trying to convey Vince's passing. I was supposed to be on that show, but due to work, I wasn't able to make it. And I also can't imagine what Bree Combination Wrestling, those that were on the show, Anthony Cole, AJ Pan, Mark Schwann, Shane Fair, Nick Shin, who was the referee that I believe it was Nick that worked on Vince and gave him CPR, Shady Torres, everybody that was there, the fans that were in attendance. I believe Vince was match 3 of the evening. Tragedy fell across pro wrestling, and I want to echo the sentiments that Tristan made at the beginning of the program, where it's true. You know, sadly, despite Vince Steele being so well known in the independents and you know, I mean, from Coastal Championship Wrestling to Sean Ross Sapp to Mike Johnson to many independent feds across the country that have set out their memories about Vince, you know, he's not going to get the same press as sadly a WWE, AEW talent. Before I just kind of pass it to Tristan to try to ask me a question so I could possibly convey an answer. Vince Steele was one of my first friends in wrestling, like friends. Like, hey man, let me get your number. How you get into the show? How's your mom? One of the first guys I broke bread with. This is going to sound extremely self-serving, and it's not. I gave Vinny the name, the Jurassic Juggernaut. He was looking for a name. He was looking for something different. He was doing the remix of pro wrestling. He felt like it ran his course. I gave him that name. I put him in touch with Ryan, who made the logo out in California, my graphics guy who does all my stuff. And I said, Vinny, I got this guy. He'll make you exactly what you're looking for. And then he did. And God bless Ryan. And my heart goes out to Vinny's kids, to his sister, to his family, to the guys that were with him into his last moments. Again, this is going to sound not right coming from me, but I got to say hats off to Mike Morgan for handling the situation. From the details that I'm getting from everybody else, Mike Morgan was on the scene. Mike Morgan, a lot of people don't know this, but he works for the medical examiner for Bergen County. So Mike Morgan literally was on the call with EMS, with PD, and was with Vinny to his last moments. From what I was told last night and this morning, Mike was an absolute godsend handling the situation in the hospital for those that were there, for friends, family, the boys. The loss that we've suffered is immeasurable. The loss the Tri-State Independence has suffered is immeasurable. The loss that we as friends have lost is immeasurable. Go ahead, Tristan.
Let's go to a clip from. I'm going to go to a clip from Vince's first interview with me back in 2020 when I was just trying to figure out how to do this podcasting. He was episode 10. He was episode 10 of my podcast. And if you want to know who Vince Steele is, you're going to find out who the hell Vince Steele is right now, and you're going to hear it directly from him. Here is who is Vince Steele.
Wow. Vince Steele is a father of 3, going individual who has goals set for himself and will fulfill them to the best of his abilities. And I'm one tough-ass wrestler, too.
Father of 3, man. Very cool. What if your kids want to do wrestling? Would you let them?
I let them. I explain to them how hard it is. I explain. You guys barely see me when I'm on the road and stuff, and they're like, yeah. No, I got a soccer player. I got a football player in the works, and then my youngest one, he's into hearts. Got a heart surgeon.
Oh.
He likes the way the heart looks. He tells me this, and I catch him watching YouTube videos on the way the heart beats and the electrifying. I'm like, what the hell? So kid is amazing. He's only 6.
I mean, Vince Steele was definitely a man who was dedicated to his kids and to his family and to his craft and always just pushing forward. And you definitely want to hear that today. The reason why I'm playing these clips from Vince Steele is because, again, this episode is not to get myself over. It's not for likes. It's not for subscribes. It's not for none of that. It's like I said before. It's just a place to give everybody that you could just come back and just hear about Vince. Like if you never come back here and watch another episode, just favorite this one and watch this as many times as you like. Cheyenne.
Yes, sir.
If you could compare, just set the tone. If you could compare Vince Steele to somebody, who would you compare Vince Steele to? I already have an answer for that, and I think you might take my answer. So go ahead.
I gotta say, I don't know if there is an answer because, as corny as this is gonna sound, Vince was extremely one of a kind.
That's what I was going to say.
There was nobody like him, and when I got into the business in the spring of 2014, and look, this might not be the best thing to say right now. Maybe that was Vince at his peak, at his healthiest, at his lightest. Even though up until the last Vince Steele match that I saw was at the beginning of the year, the last one that I got to call was around winter of last year. He was still doing things that were for his size, I mean, let's just say what it is. Vinny was 500 pounds at various points of his life. But I mean, Vinny, so to put it in perspective, on a regular basis, now I got to give you guys, on a regular basis at one point in Vince's career, he stopped by his own choice, by the way, also because he didn't want to hear shit from the boys. On a regular basis at one point, Vince Steele, at the 400 mark, was doing the Harlem Hangover from the top rope no less than 2 times a weekend. For those of you unaware, that is a flipping leg drop from the top rope onto your opponent with ease. With ease. And this is at a time where, sadly, video collections and streaming and stuff with the internet, so most of these are going to be lost, but ask anybody. With ease, Vince Steele was going to the top, doing the Harlem Hangover 2 times a weekend. If he was booked 3 times, he was doing it at least 2. And the only reason he stopped was because promoters and guys didn't want to take it. To put it in perspective, Vinny from a standing position would do a heel kick. Off rip, just from standing. From a fighting stance, would do a heel kick. Vinny would have to time his Liger kick if and when he would bust that out, because that would be one of his main event moves. He would have to time the Liger kick because his leg was so big, he was afraid of hitting the turnbuckle and hurting himself more than the other guy because he knew he wasn't going to touch his opponent. And, you know, everybody talks about his size, his this, his that. I could tell you firsthand, if Vinny hit you with a drop kick, which, yes, he could do. When I got in 10 years ago, Vinny would come in and help the training students at the Morgan Junior Arena. And Vinny would be the one to show you how to do the drop kicks. Why Vinny? Because the idea was if he could do it and he's 400 plus pounds, you could do it with no problem. And back then they do it where Mike or myself would be in the ring holding a broom, and Vinny would do this drop kick 10, 12, 15, X amount of times so that the kids could see it done the right way. And I'm holding the broom. It wasn't like I'm going back or he's getting me. Lawler style. Perception, reality, you wouldn't even know. I mean, Vinny at his apex was absolutely untouchable. Vinny at one point was, in fact, the best big man in the business. He held that mantle for a long time. He helped cultivate other guys as big men. I mean, whether it was TJ Marconi, Adam Payne, Bruno, there were a lot of other big guys that he helped out, be it in the ring, backstage, conversation. You know, Vinny could literally do suicide dives, or he could just do your standard big man match, just bear hug city, you know, fall away slams, front slams, work his size. If he chopped you, you were going to have asthma for a week. You know, I can sit here and tell you all these great things about him as a worker because he was great. He is great. Or I can just sit here and tell you about how wonderful he was as a person. If Vinny didn't talk to you for what he found to be too long of a time, Vinny called you.
Let me go to the chat real quick. And if you're watching this, share this on your social media. I want everybody to have the opportunity that whether they knew Vince Steele or not, to come here and get to know Vince Steele. If you knew Vince Steele and you're watching this, go ahead and leave your comment. Right now we got Matt Wolf. I haven't seen Matt Wolf in a long time. What's going on, Matt? Matt says, we love you and miss you, big man. That's to him. Adam Payne says, Coast to Coast was one of the most impressive things he's ever seen from Vince Steele. Yo, for people that don't know what Coast to Coast is, that's jumping from one side of the ring, turnbuckle to turnbuckle. And he's not no, like, you know, small guy.
No.
Matt Wolf echoes it and says, one of the best big men since Bam Bam Bigelow. And Adam Payne checks in again. He says, always positive, always showing love. Vinny was truly one of the nicest guys, period. Thank you so much, guys, for your comments. What I want to do is, so everybody always asks, like, you know, it's always the typical pro wrestler question. When I started doing this podcast back in 2020, I had a cookie cutter thing that I did. You know, I've evolved since then. But one of the questions I was always curious is like, I knew how I got into pro wrestling. And the question was like, how did he get into pro wrestling? So here's a question when I was asking him how he got into pro wrestling as a kid that, grew up in the Bronx. Here we go.
I actually started wrestling in 2001.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be 20 years next year that I've been in the sport.
Right.
I originally started at the original Doghouse in Queens, New York.
Okay.
Trained by the Tower Torture Layton. Here and there, some help from Homicide and some help from Low Key. But my main trainer was Layton.
And that's how he got into pro wrestling. You know, it's just tough, right? Because like I didn't realize that him and I are pretty much like the same age. I thought he might have had like a couple years on me, but knowing that, you know, it's eventually further on, he talks a little bit more about, you know, when he found a school and different stuff like that, about wrestling on mattresses and wrestling in like backyards. Look, in New York City, we didn't have any backyards. We wrestled in the parks. Okay, like that's how we did it, and that's what he came from. I used to wrestle at parks in the Bronx, just like him. And like you a LES guy, Lower East Side, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
from Manhattan.
Absolutely. There were a lot of guys that I either knew about or came up with. The most famous being Drastic and Ortiz, Santana and Ortiz. I've known those guys 20, 25 years. Vinny's Park era is probably quite a few years behind me, only because he was already bumping in a ring professionally by the time I met him. Obviously he didn't spend a lot of time in the parks, but he had the experience of it. But I mean, he always wanted to be a wrestler. And real quick, I don't know if this does it justice. I don't know if I'm the person to really say these accomplishments, because I certainly don't want to miss any. You know, Vinny wrestled in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Vermont, Texas. I want to say he did a spill in California. I don't know if he worked Vegas or not, Nevada in general. You know, Vinny was much, much more traveled than he's ever going to get credit for, much more accomplished than he's ever going to get credit for. Big man with an even bigger heart, man. You know, if Vinny loved you, he really loved you. And going back to what I said earlier, you know, if he didn't hear from you for a while, he would check in, he would message you. If you were sad, if somebody messed with you, he had your back. He was a real friend. And again, that's the word I keep circling back to, is immeasurable. Immeasurable. His loss, him as a human being, him as a talent, immeasurable. Immeasurable is the word that I keep circling back to since last night.
First off, Cheyenne, I just want to thank you. Like, it's not easy, you know, doing what we're doing right now. You know, I'm glad that you're here. It gives me the ability to line up people, because people are texting and they want some of their things read. So what I have from
people are messaging me personally while this is happening. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. And if you got a message you want to read, you know, just go ahead and read it on the air. You know, this is like I said, this is not about us today. This is about him. So if there's anything that anybody sends that they want to read, go for it. But I got this message from Dan Murdoch. I had my first match with him, and he had his first match with Vince. But he said he was my first ever singles match, and while I don't remember most of the match because he knocked me out in the beginning, I earned his respect after taking his Harlem Hangover. He was a giant, but a gentle giant. Was the kindest guy I ever shared a locker room with. I also remember to this day the time he and I breakdanced the Achy Breaky Heart in the middle of the ring after my match at Ace Pro Wrestling, and then attempting to dance the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme. It was a fun time because we didn't just care. One of the fun moments in my career involving him. My condolences and prayers go out to his family. He'll be truly missed. And that was from Dan Murdoch, a.k.a. Benjamin Clark. I don't know if he wants me to drop his shoot name, but yeah. So that was his little message that he wanted me to read. I appreciate that.
And again, I just want to shout out everybody at BCW who handled that situation incredibly. So everybody at Recombination Wrestling, if I forget your name, please don't take it personal. But Anthony Cole, AJ Pam, Mark Schwann, intern Jerry, referee Nick Shin, Shane Fair, Chris Shady Torres, Anthony Gangone, Samira, Sean Donovan was there, Darius Carter was there, Casey Navarro was there. Those of you in the locker room who prayed, who literally got into the locker room and led a prayer circle. I mean, again, hats off to that promotion, because I want to put off the top of my head, and Tristan, you're a historian, you could correct me, 3-4 people have passed away in the ring.
Yeah.
Right? That I know of. Mike DiBiase, which is before everybody's time, but Mike DiBiase, just to let you guys know, that's Ted DiBiase's father. Mike DiBiase, Owen Hart. I feel like such a jerk right now. The gentleman who passed away in Mexico.
Yes. That was like, that was recently.
Yeah, it was years. 2011, 2012, right? Something like that. Vince Steele.
You know the thing too, it's just like I remember watching Owen Hart. You know, like I remember that, and it's just like I was a kid, I didn't really understand, but this one just like it's just different because like I knew the brother. If I didn't know the brother or anything like that, it'd be a lot different. But I want you guys that are watching, friends, family, fans, people who don't know who Vince Steele is to know who Vince Steele is. I'm going to get Andrew Magic Morgan, Magic, on the phone. Magic is like the trainer of all trainers. And he held Vince near and dear to his heart. I got some more messages that I'm going to play. But first, I want you guys to understand why he chose wrestling. Understand that we know that when we get in the ring, it's dangerous. And we do it all for you. All for you. The only reason that I ever put on a pair of boots was for every single person that bought a ticket. For every person that ever bought a ticket. And I understood that you could have took your $20 and went to the movies. You could have took your $20 to went to go eat. But on a Saturday night, a lot of people took their $20 to go see Vince Steele. So when y'all want to walk around and talk about wrestling as fake, there ain't shit fake about wrestling. Because if it was fake, there wouldn't be people passing away in the ring. This is real stuff. Real stuff. It's not stunts. It's not Hollywood. It's real men, real women, real whatever gender they identify as, out there putting their bodies in the line for your entertainment. So now you're going to listen to why Vince Steele, why he chose wrestling.
Well, you know, like everybody, I started out a fan. Used to play what they say backyard with my buddies back at home, and I liked the attention I was getting, and realized, you know, maybe there's something else to do. And to be totally honest, you know, I'm a kid from the inner city, and I lived in the projects, and that what kept me out of trouble. To be totally honest, it was like a small spot where in Patterson Projects called Tony's Gym, where it was a complete place that had mattresses and mats, and you flip and stuff like that.
That was wrestling in the Bronx. Let me see if I can get Magic on the phone, because Magic wanted to say some things. Let's see. We're trying this out. Never called anybody live before while this is going on. So we are going to try today. Magic, where's Magic's number? Right here. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell y'all. Don't worry, it's not for y'all to know. Let's see. We're going to hear from Magic right now.
In the meantime, if you go on my Facebook, I have shared several times Vince Steele's Pro Wrestling Tee store. If you want to grab a shirt.
Magic.
Hey man, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Magic? You're here with me, Tristan Law, and Cheyenne Ortiz. We're here talking about Vince, obviously.
I'm watching it, definitely, man. It's really heartbreaking, man. Because I've been around that kid since he was a kid, man. When he first started, he was at the doghouse, and very oppressive guy. The thing I can say, man, I love the dude, man. And, I just wish, I talked to him more. It's like watching your kid grow up. Lathan, Homicide, the doghouse really put him in the spot where he should have been, He loved this wrestling. And I always say, I'm sorry, man. It's really hard to talk about a great guy. Nobody understands how good this guy is. For a guy, for his size, he was a lightweight guy to me. Vince would do anything to press people. Like I heard his coast to coast, he did that. He did his drop kicks. He's just a man, and it's sad, man. He loved his family. I heard he was going to have another son. That really hurt me. I mean, another baby. I don't know if it was a boy or girl, but that really hurt me. It's really hard.
How long?
So young.
How long have you known him? Like since day one?
I knew Vince Hilton. Day one he started wrestling, practicing. It was him, and I think they call Jarek King or whatever.
King Jeter. King Jeter,
yeah, they were both together. Me and Super used to go down there and work out with them or do shows with them. These were two big men. And Vince still was like, God damn, this big guy could do it. So it was made for him to be a wrestler. I really feel bad for his family, man, and people close to him. I thank you for doing that for him, And when you called me and said we're gonna do it, I said, yo, I'm on it, bro. I spread the word to everybody, man. I know, a few people that been around him, like Kane B and all of them. Because we all knew Vince still, and he's a guy, like my man said, he'll back you up when it's time to back you up. I had a little problem with a young kid that's saying I blow a spot, and I'm laughing at him because I said, dude, I was there, you wasn't there. And Vince still stepped on him. Vince like, yo, you talking to, bro? And then he went to tell all the old cats, and this guy came back and was like, man, I'm very sorry. And I said, yo, dude, it's all right, man. Because, we all get frustrated. I don't get mad at wrestling. I don't get mad at people. It's just what it is. You blow it, you blow it, I try not to be a faker. I don't be a faker. I tell you like it is. I like you, man. I'll get along with everybody. But this kid is special, man. To die so young, And, I don't know if I'm being selfish or anything or sound like an asshole, but most of us wrestlers love to do what we do. You know what I'm saying? And we die in what we're doing. I think we love to do it. I don't wish nobody to death, but that's how I feel. If you love this sport so much, you're gonna do it until you die. And he died so fucking young, man. Excuse my language, so fucking young. I just feel bad for his family, man. And they didn't get the opportunity to say goodbye to the kids. Or say anything. So they talked to them 2 weeks ago. Putting on the show. And this happened. I don't know what to say, man. I really can't say much. My mind is all over the place.
And definitely, Magic. I know it's a tough time for a lot of us in the wrestling business right now, and especially like Cheyenne said, the tri-states. And I definitely appreciate you coming on here. Like I said, in the beginning of this is not. I didn't do this to put myself over. Like, I'm not asking for likes or subscribes or nothing like this. Like, I'm genuinely doing this because I want friends, family, fans to come back on here years down the line. Maybe when I did the episode with him, his kid was 6, right? His youngest son was 6. His son is probably at least 11 years old now, right? So in like 7 years, he'll be a grown man, and I want him to be able to come back to this and be like, you know what? I can still hear my daddy voice.
That's right, and the love that people have for his father.
You can still hear his daddy voice.
If nobody loves Vince Steele, they're a fool. That dude was loved, respected. I always call him the big man who wanted to be a lightweight.
Always. He was always. You were there a couple times. He was always on Morgan. Mike, give me the fight for flight, man.
Yeah, dude. I wrestled with him when I was a tag team partner with him. He does things like he wanted to do. And that coast to coast, he's been doing it for a long time. But the funny part, they caught him when he missed the coast to coast.
Right, and that's what I was trying to get at, is that sadly the clip of him missing is the most infamous one, but he did coast to coast successfully on a regular basis. They just sadly the one that's going to stand the test of time is him missing.
I remember one day it was me and Bandito Senior, and that's the one is Bandito's son is the ref for WWE.
That's right.
So we were wrestling a tag match. So here he goes. They still say, I'm going to top rope and dive on y'all. And I said, okay. I was stupid. I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's see if we can catch him. So I looked, he was so heavy at this time. He couldn't get to the top rope. We got to the top, but the hot rope went down to the second rope. I was like, oh my God, dude, forget about it. I said, guys, beat me up. Beat me up. If he jumps, he jumps. If he don't worry about it. I can't hold y'all too long. So but he would do any.
Sorry, Magic, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm saying he would do anything, man, to press the crowd and press us as wrestlers as well. And he was you could say he's a lightweight too, man. And a big body, he was a lightweight.
I'm just piggybacking off your words, Magic, because everybody keeps calling him the lightweight and the cruiserweight, and he was also known as the best big man in the business. And I also got I do have a clip from him from our first interview back in 2020 where he talks about that. You want to hear that?
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on one second. Let's get this going.
Wow. Vince Steele is a father of 3, going individual who has goals set for himself and will fulfill them to the best of his abilities. And I'm one tough-ass wrestler, too.
Father of 3, man. Very cool. What if your kids want to do wrestling? Would you let them?
I let them. I explain to them how hard it is. I explain. You guys barely see me when I'm on the road and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I got a soccer player, I got a football player in the works, and then my youngest one, he's into hearts. I got a heart surgeon coming. He likes the way the heart looks. He tells me this, and I catch him watching YouTube videos on the way the heart beats and the electrifying. I'm like, what the hell? So kid is amazing. He's only 6.
I think the hardest part for me is just being a father now. I got a 2.5-year-old, and he got a little attitude. The hardest part for me is just thinking of Vince like he left behind a lot of children.
Right.
I can never imagine. Like Magic, you're a dad. I know you can never imagine leaving behind your kids.
Yeah, it's really hard, man. It's more hard. It's more hard on the kids because they lost their dad, and he was a powerful dad. You know what I know of. You know, we always talk about the kids and so on and so on. You know, we talk about life. You know, it wasn't just wrestling. Last time I saw Vince, we saw eye to eye was at the WWX. You know, and we were talking in the back, you know, chatting junk, you know, making jokes and stuff like that. But I'll tell you one thing, man, that kid protected this business, and he would protect you. You know, if you was his friend, you was friends for life.
Yep.
And it sucks to watch somebody that you saw grow up into this business. You know, you watch them start from scratch in this business, you know, and like I said, Nathan did a good job with this kid. And then he went on and did a better job for himself, you know. So I just say, man, it's really fucking heartbreaking, man. It's really heartbreaking, man. You know, when I first saw it on Jarrell, you know, from the Dirty Rotten Scandals. I saw that and I'm like, yo, wait a minute, I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago. You know, I'm like, y'all full of shit, you know, and thinking somebody playing the game, you know. And then I turned around, this guy named Steven called me. He does security for certain companies and stuff like that. He called me personally. And he said, dude, I'm at the hospital with Vince. Vince passed away. And I was like, who? He said, Vince Steele passed away. And I was like, no way. A lot of those people that went to the hospital to give him support, thank you. You know, the ref was in the ring with him, talking to him, thank you. You know, he did. Somebody was there for him. People were there for him. And he don't know how much people love him. You know, he like I said, he's an amazing man. You know, I watched him grow up as a pup to a great man. Yeah. And you can't, you know, you're right. He was the most exciting big man in professional wrestling, and you can't pair nobody to Vince Steele. Vince Steele was Vince Steele. You want to be Vince Steele. You know, I want to be Vince Steele, the stuff he did. You know? I'm like, damn, you dude, you making big men look good. You know? So nobody, you can't pair Vince Steele to nobody. Only person you can pair Vince Steele is to himself.
That's right.
You know? And I hope a lot of big people see this and want to be him. You know? Because he flew, he did what he had to do. And for a guy his size, he's an awesome man. That's all I gotta say, man. This is really breaking me up, man. You know, it's like a kid to you. You know, you watch him grow into this business. And it sucks when you watch these guys that you've been around, watch them get trained and be in the ring with them, practicing them with them and stuff, and you watch them grow better. You know, it just sucks, man. It's just not good. You know, it just sucks that any wrestler that you know and you're close to, watch him grow to become a better wrestler in the world. It just sucks. You know, it just sucks.
Well, Magic, I definitely appreciate you coming on, and this is definitely for the legacy of Vince Steele. I appreciate you. You know, love you. You know, I owe you a lot, bro. You don't understand. I owe you a lot for part of my wrestling, you know, career. So like, I want to give you your flowers right now because, you know, tomorrow's not promised. If it was never for you, I would have never been man enough to take the backdrop. So Magic, I never forget the day. It was a sun. You see you laughing because you remember. So I'm giving you your flowers now. Thank you very much. Because if it was never for you.
Nah, dude, you know, I thank you for trusting me, bro. That's what it is, man. To trust me. My hands, you know, your life is in my hands when it comes to these moves and stuff. And I appreciate you for trusting in me, man. You know, the trainers that train these kids, thank them. You know, you have to trust them. You got to trust your trainers. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So, you know, and it sucks. You know, it just sucks. You watch these guys you grow up with. You know, you watch them grow. You know, I'm older than everybody in the world, probably. But it just sucks to watch a young man that you watch grow and be friends with and protected you. You know, he protected me in a lot of things, man. A lot of things in the background. And I want to say to Vince Steele and his family, thank you for letting me have him for a few minutes as my friend and as my brother.
Well, Magic.
All right, guys. I can't talk
Magic,
no more.
I don't know when I'm gonna see you, but I love you. You know what
I love
that is.
you too, man. You know, I tell everybody I love them, man. I love everybody, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because you'll never know. Like I always say, you'll never know what's going to happen the next day.
That's right. Or the next second, the next minute.
You know?
Magic,
Yeah.
thank you.
So,
Love
you know,
you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing the stories. And we will keep in touch.
Definitely, man. Love you, man. Take it easy, everybody. Love you all. Have a good night. Well, try to have a good day.
Thanks, Magic.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was Andrew Magic Morgan on the phone. Oh, wait, hold on. We're all clip crazy now. That was Andrew Magic Morgan on the phone. You know, anybody that came out of New Jersey, you know, was touched by Magic. You know, Jay Lethal, you know, obviously Vince Steele, myself, you know, tons of wrestlers. So, you know, yeah, shout out to Magic for being able to get on the phone today. We're going to get more people on the phone. I'm going to get ready to get Jimmy Biff on the phone. If you don't know who Jimmy Biff is, I met Jimmy Biff. He was a security guard. And I guess he was kind of, I don't know if I'm going to call Jimmy Biff a security guard. Jimmy Biff was a part of the show. When I was at BWO, he was the big brolic guy out there. And it's like, you know, you don't really mess with Jimmy. And Jimmy right now is running with Steve Off in Magic, in Pro Wrestling Magic. So we're going to get him on for a little bit. But we got another comment. Let's just go to the comment real quick. It's from John Harder. In case you guys don't know who he is I guess the pro wrestling journalist, like an indie wrestling journalist. And he writes about pro wrestling. And his message is, be proud of yourself, guys. Even as late as the 2010s, I vividly remember Vinny going to the air and flying down the Anthony Gangone at Morgan Jr. Arena, winning the Diamond Division title. No fair.
Yeah, that was Vince Steele had won a Battle Royal. I don't know if it was Chance of a Lifetime or just a Battle Royal in general. And the winner was going to get the Diamond Division title shot at any time that they wanted. So Gangone just had this epic battle with somebody. I can't remember who it was at the time. And moments after, calamity struck when Vince Steele decided to cash in on Gangone, and Vince went to the top rope and hit a flying headbutt with ease on Gangone to secure that Diamond Division title on that particular evening. You know, I think it's safe to say Vince Steele worked so many places, but he always considered Ace to be his home fed. He was an excellent utility player anywhere he was booked, but at American Championship Entertainment, there was almost nothing that he wouldn't do for Mike Morgan and myself, whomever asked anything of him. There was no task too big for him. His loyalty to Mike, again, going back to that word, immeasurable. Yeah, you know, I know we got Biff coming on in a couple minutes, but I just want to tell a couple stories because John shot me a text, so maybe to bring some levity to the situation. We were in the you might want to double screen this one, Tristan, because I don't even think you know the story.
All right, go ahead.
We were at the Morgan Jr. Arena. We had just secured the building. It was one of the first shows, and it's early in the afternoon, and you know, you're killing time and you're hanging with the guys and you're joking, you're laughing, you're this and that. Not for me. I'm running around doing 5,000 things in 10 minutes to make sure everything's set for the evening. So I'm running around, and John Harder would get podcasts with the guys and then air them like the following Monday or Tuesday, and he'd sometimes get 3 interviews with the guys. So he was interviewing Vinny on this little 4x4 square table, him on one side, Vinny on the other, and they just wrapped the podcast. And I'm walking back and forth from the stage to the upstairs area of the Morgan Jr. Arena. Now, again, on one side of the table is John Harder. On the other side is Vince Steele. And they're doing the play. Oh, John, thank you so much. No, thank you, Vinny. And they're doing the pleasantries. All of a sudden, you hear this huge boom in the arena. This huge boom. And I'm walking up the ramp and I'm like, what the? Because whatever it was right behind me, and I got tunnel vision. I go and I look and I do the what the F. I turn around. And Vinny had broke the chair. The chair, the legs were out flat. It was one of those banquet hall chairs with the metal and the green backing and the green seat, and the legs were flat. It looked like a spider.
So he put the chair over.
He put the chair over. The chair was like, not today, brother. And he did the job.
I'm not doing the job for you, brother.
That chair was like, no, yeah, no mask at this time. And the whole building with the boys erupts in laughter. I go up to Mike's office and I just sit down in the corner. He's like, what? And I was like, just wait. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, just wait. And Vinny walks in with the chair all flat. Okay, the legs are out. And Mike is like in disbelief at what Vinny had done to this metal chair, or what the metal chair had done to Vinny ultimately, because the chair was not with it that day. Yeah, there's that. I have some Vinny stories that will not age well, so I can't tell them.
Because I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah, I don't want to get canceled. They're all in good fun, but sadly there is no more good fun.
Right.
The one that I think is still safe to tell, and it doesn't get told as often. One night after an Ace show, Mike, Vinny, Mike Morgan Jr., a couple of the guys, it is a ritual that after the show, the boys get something to eat. All of them, some of them, different groups, whatever. So apparently in Union City at the time, there was this place, it was the IHOP. It was the IHOP in Union City. And at the time, for X amount of dollars, it was all you can eat pancakes. And so Vinny and Mike Jr. were going back and forth like, oh, I could eat more pancakes than you. No, I could eat more pancakes than you. So they have the pancake eating contest at this IHOP in Union City. So it got to the point where the IHOP was getting mad at how many pancakes Vinny was putting away. First of all, how many he was consuming for their all-you-can-eat advertisement.
You know what? I have a clip where me and him talk about food, but I'm going to play that later on. But how many pancakes did he eat?
I don't recall the number exactly, but it got to the point where Mikey was like, "Oh, I'm done. I can't do it no more." Versus Vinny kept going, and he projectile vomited all over this IHOP in Union City, and they threw him out. And he was banned for life. Is banned for life from this IHOP in Union City over there at the shopping complex by P&L. Yeah, that was Vinny. I mean, I was in the back of ring trucks with Vinny because he needed a ride, so I would just ride in the back of the truck just to keep him company. And I mean, we'd be back there. You know, if you've ever been in the back of a truck, especially a wrestling ring truck, it's one of two ways. In the winter, it is brutally cold. In the summer, it is exasperatingly hot. You're back there gasping for air at times. You're literally cracking the back of the door open, hoping it doesn't fly open because you need the air. You're looking for a drill hole so you can get fresh air. And I did that for my first year with Vinny. And, you know, Vinny was, we talk about how great of a friend he was. He was extremely giving. One time, he loved Mike Morgan, man. He was so devoted to Mike. So one time, Vinny had a couple dollars and was struck with good fortune, and Vinny comes and says, "Oh, Mike, I want to." Okay, so real quick, 23 pancakes. Somebody just messaged me. 23 pancakes.
Okay, shout him out. Who was it?
Is Kenny, Uncle Kenny, Kenneth Alphonse, the musical director, at Ace Pro Wrestling.
Okay, shout out to
23
him.
Pancakes.
Thank you
Shout
so
out
much for
to
your
Kenny.
message.
Shout out to Uncle Kenny. Everybody loves Uncle Kenny, even though Uncle Kenny loves nobody. So the musical director at Ace is correct. So anyway, because now my damn laptop's lying before I do my story. So he goes and he's like, Mike, let me do something for you. I want to buy you food or whatever the case may be. And so he takes it upon himself to buy Mike some dinner. And he's like, Shy, you know, what do you want, man? I got dinner. I'm paying. And I'm a very humble guy, you know, and he's like, Shy, please, you take care of me all the time. Let me get you some food. So we order from this place called Planet Wings, because if anybody knows me, I'm a chicken wing connoisseur.
Come on, bro. I know Planet Wings.
I'll get you wings and you'll eat, right? And he's like, yeah. So he orders the wings. Oh, Mike, what do you want? Oh, let me get 10 of these and this sauce. Okay, no problem. Shy, what do you want? Let me get 10 of these and this sauce and a Coke. Oh, no problem. Kenny, what do you? So this is pre-DoorDash, pre-Grubhub. He calls it in. Yeah, can I get 10 of these wings with this sauce? No problem. Can I get 10 of these wings with, okay. 10 of, okay. Yeah, and can I get 50 barbecue wings and 50 buffalo? And we're all just, yeah. And 2 Diet Cokes? Yeah. How much is that? No problem. They take cash, right? I want to tip the guy. Okay. All right. How long? 30 minutes? Well, you know, it's a lot of chicken. Okay, that's fine. All right. I'll see you soon. Well, look at Vinny. Who the fuck did you order 100 wings for? I got to eat too, man. What do you think? and I fucking I lost it. I lost it. And he made it to about 80 something wings. And then sure enough, and he made it to about 80 something wings, and then he was in the bathroom. And that was it. Then everybody was using the women's room for the rest of the night. So
well, I mean, we are having a tribute today to Vince Steele, who tragically passed away yesterday at the age of 39 years old. So if you want to call and leave a message. Get ready to get Jimmy Biff on the phone, who him and his wife knew him pretty well. Got a message from her as well, too. I do want to go back to the chat. I'm going to show everybody in the chat love. Billy Cummings, I missed his message. His message was before the show went live. And his says, my head hurts. Vince was my friend. Shout out to the Bronx, to the Boogie Down. We've been up all night forever, Vince. You know, like, people don't understand, Cheyenne. Like, if you grew up in the suburbs, like, you don't understand what it's like when somebody from the hood, you know, like, leaves us. Like, you know, they got the candles out, and it's like, yo, we just really put out a tribute for people. You know, people stay up all night, they drink, and, like, we just really, like, honor the memory. That's just what we do.
I think that it's one of those situations that, it sucks that sometimes it takes these moments for us to honor the ones that we love. But at the same time, the one thing I could tell you in my time of grief is the amount of love that Vinny has received. I'm sorry, because I just got a few different messages about Vinny. The amount of love that Vinny is receiving is incredible.
For an indie guy. He wasn't WWE, wasn't AEW, wasn't even NWA. He's an indie guy.
Incredible amount of love being shown for Vinny right now. And I'm gonna sign off in a moment. I just, it's cliche. It's a little corny. Hug your friends, hug your family, hug your loved ones. Normalize telling other people in the business how much you love them. Not this whole giving your flowers thing and the talent and this and that. We are constantly in locker rooms with people that we would literally do anything for, but we are not saying it. We are in locker rooms with people that are closer with us than family, and we are not saying it. Don't let that love be known when they're gone, man. I don't care who it is. Tell them. Check in on your friends these next couple days. Check in on your people these next couple days and the days coming after. You know, so many people are running this month. It's very common in independents across the country for March to be a hot month. I think ECWA weekend, there's many other shows coming up this weekend. Look, man, tell them, you know, if don't be upset if a Fed doesn't want to do a 10 bell for Vinny, because unfortunately, you know, Vinny may not have touched down in that Fed, even though it's a time-honored tradition. You want to honor Vinny, wear the armbands, wear the wrist tape, put his initials somewhere on your gear. You know, if you want to rep him, I put the link for his pro wrestling tees on my page every couple hours because
and send it to me. Send it to me.
It's still live, you know.
Send it to me so I can put the link in the bottom of the description so people could buy shirts or whatever.
I will. I can't send it to you on the laptop. It's on my phone. I'll get it to you though.
That's fine.
And sorry again about the F-bomb. But you know, in 2 weeks, we got to do the Mike Morgan Jr. Memorial Show, Hero Celebration. Next week, whatever it is. I cannot express to you how much love Vinny had for Mikey. I can't express to you how much love Vinny had for Ace. And the fact that at that show, his home fed show, we're gonna have to do it without him, plus honor him, plus the measurements that it takes for us to honor Mikey. Vinny's impact in wrestling and our lives, much like his talent, immeasurable. I know that as soon as I log off, I'm going to lose it. Vinny, I love you, man. You can say whatever you want. There is no reason you shouldn't be here. You say whatever you want about his size, his health, his this, his that. That's going to be debatable. Vinny, you should be here, and we all are so sad. We all think this is a nightmare, not a dream, a nightmare without you. We are thinking of your kids. We're thinking of your sister. I know you're back up there with your mom. What a man. What a man, what a friend. And again, because I can't say it enough. Thank you to those at BCW who handled the situation as best as you or any promotion could. Thank you to Anthony Cole, AJ Pan, to Mike Morgan, Brian Warner, Benny Blanco, and all the guys that went to the hospital with them. Shane Fair, that was giving words of encouragement. Nick Shin, Ref Shady, all of you that prayed for Vinny in the locker room at the show, those of you that continue to pray for him. Workers, constantly get your physicals, get them every 3 months, get your heart checked, get your liver, your kidneys, get that blood work done. Keep those physicals up. Make sure you're getting yourself checked. Get your EKGs twice a year now. You got to do it now after the age of 35. You can go once a year before that and get all that stuff checked out. Officials, if you don't already, please take a CPR course. Please get certified. If you don't want that pressure of working on somebody, at least take the course for the assistance. Please, learn basic triage. This was the wrong type of message for the independents from a safety and a precaution standpoint. This was the wrong type of message. Our hearts are hurting. My heart is hurting. Tristan's heart is hurting. I'm constantly telling everybody, whoever texts me, calls me, whatever, I just say Vinny should be here, and then I end the conversation. Because that is the end of the conversation for me. He's my friend. He's my real friend. And you don't get a lot of those in wrestling, in life. He's my real friend. And again, he should be here, I want to thank Tristan for doing this, for having me on, for me blubbering in front of you all. I just we're all processing this real tragedy. This real tragedy that happened. Yeah. And we're going to be feeling this one for a while. We're going to be feeling this one for a while. And I'm sure Tristan has many people still lined up to come on the program and say great things about Vinny, because you can't not say anything bad about him. You can't say anything bad about Vinny, because Vinny was a stand-up performer, a stand-up friend, a stand-up man, a spectacular father. Yeah. So again, it'll be on my page. Tristan will link it here in the comment, in the description. Vinny's Pro Wrestling Tee store is still active. Shout out to Ryan Hart for making those logos. It's a good guy. And again, thank you, Tristan, for doing this, because from the lens of there is so many tributes to Vinny, right? And from the lens of wrestling, there's going to be so many. But the fact that you went and did this and made the statement of, so that his kids can go back and hear their dad's voice. That's a different thing altogether, man. And you should be commended for that. You really should be commended for that, because nobody's going to say that. And you know me very well. It's hard for me not to curse right now. Nobody's going to say something like that. So kudos to you for that, because nobody's going to say that. Everybody, we got to get together. We got to honor him. We got to do something. We got to 10 bell. We got to do a show or this or that. Nobody is going to come and say, hey, man, let's do this so his kids have something they can go back to. And maybe now is not the time, but you deserve to be commended for it. And if anybody's going to do that, it's me. You didn't have to ask me to be on this show. You didn't have to do this show. You didn't have to call Magic. You didn't have to invite people to come on and spread the word about how wonderful Vinny was as a human being. You did. You did. And you deserve, I hate this term, but you deserve your flowers for doing that. You really do. Because when you said that at the beginning of the program, I almost lost it, man. And that's real man stuff right there. And anybody who knows me knows that it's taking everything in my power not to curse right now. That's why I'm getting even more riled up. Because, yeah, man, really, as a person, I can't say enough good things about you for that alone. That's much respect to you forever, dude. I mean, really, because you're playing these clips with his voice and you were on it. You had a vision and I want you to know you executed that today.
And I'm still not done yet.
Yeah. So everybody, share Vinny's photos, share Vinny's matches, share promos, share this. It's for his kids, man. It's for his kids. We lost a brother, we lost a wrestler, but there are kids out there that have lost their father. We're circling around him as an athlete, as a goofball, as the memories he created for us. But people lost their father. And that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. So yeah. We're gonna get that. I think this is King Negro. You want to get that number on the screen? I think EC Negro wants to tune in.
Who's that? That's Jorel?
I believe that's him. You want to get that number up for Jorel?
Yeah. Where's the number? I think so. It's on the screen. Hold on. Okay. 826-0101. So everybody wants to call, leave a message, whatever. But I want to see if I can get him on the phone. 973-826-0101. Joel, send the number a text message, and I give you a call back. I got to get somebody else on the phone, and that person's been waiting a long time. Shiny,
hold on before you go.
Go ahead.
Before you go, because I'm seeing this message. This is from Adam Payne. Adam wanted to put out there, when you said hello to Vinny, if he pulled you in for a hug, you felt the love. Some longer than others, but always sincere. Always asked about family. Always genuinely cared, and he never faked brothered you. And yeah, Ryan Peterson also wants everybody to know that he's sending his love, and he agrees that that Vinny should be here. Yeah, I've held up the show long enough. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure these guys got their messages out there, because they're hitting me up on Facebook. I don't mean to delay your vision.
Nah, look, man. Look. I just don't want it to be at the end. It's like there was so much more that could have been said. Like,
yeah.
In pro wrestling, we use the term, we say less is more.
Yeah.
But right now, like, we know the purpose of what I'm doing now. More is more. There can never be enough. I've been doing this for an hour and 12 minutes already. And I don't do shows this long. And I got to go to my shoot job by 4:15 today.
Yeah.
So if I'm done with this at 3 o'clock, or I'm done with this at 3 o'clock, but I'm making sure I give the time so that his kids or grandkids in the future, or great-great-grandkids, they can come back to this and say, you know what? I found this. This is my granddad. This is my grandfather. This is my father. This is my great-great-grandfather. I want somebody to say, this is my, my fiance, or this is my brother. This is my, son, whoever. This is my best friend. So, whenever you're feeling down and, you're missing Vince, this episode here, you're going to still be able to hear his voice. I don't want anybody to go anywhere and read, oh yeah, he did this and he did that. No. You can read anything. Anybody can type anything, but you're going to hear it directly from his voice when I did an interview with him back in 2020 when I first started doing the Tristan Law Show.
Definitely get EC Negro on the line because they go back a long way. Yep. And
that's
EC
that's Jarrell, right?
Guys of that era that started with Vinny in the doghouse. EC Negro, a real trailblazer for the independents in his era. Definitely get him on. Guys, thank you so much. Tristan, can't thank you or praise you enough. And everybody, everybody remember Vince Steele, the best big man in the business, the remix of pro wrestling, the Jurassic Juggernaut, and probably your friend, because I know he was mine. Thanks again to Tristan, to everybody that dropped a bunch of messages. Peace be the journey.
See you later, Cheyenne. Thank you. And that was Cheyenne Ortiz. It's now a one-man show. So we're going to just keep this ball rolling. I got another clip that I wanted to play here for you guys for Vince. Let's see what clip that we're up to now, because we've been doing so much. The next clip that we're going to hear, where you can hear his voice, is so I used to always ask a question. And the question I used to always ask is, why do you feel like you're the best for like WWE or anything like that? So like maybe one day when somebody's listening to this, I'm like, what made Vince Steele so great in the ring? This is why.
I'm believable. I see myself more than the average guy, but I'm relatable, and people understand the struggles that I go through just so much as I do with theirs. And I'm a good wrestler. I make people go ooh ah and wow all the time. Every time I go in the ring. Ooh, he's big. Wow, he can move. And shit, this guy can flip. That's the power I love to have when I engage the crowd. And that's how I feel. And I can make you tons of money.
Vince wasn't just another big man. He was the big man who could do it all. He was our big guy on the indies. I'm going to see if I can get Jimmy Biff on the phone. He's been waiting a long time. But, I'm not really giving anybody any kind of time limit here. I am trying to move this along, but I'm not giving anybody any time limit. I'm going to, Jarrell, I'm going to give you a call in a bit, but let me get Jimmy Biff on the phone. Let's see if we can get him now.
Hello.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Tristan. You're live on YouTube.
Hey, Tristan the Law.
Sorry
God,
for me.
It's been years, man. It's been years.
I know. It's been, I even put you over and let everybody know exactly, who you were, because everybody's like, oh, who's Jimmy Biff? If you don't know who Jimmy Biff is, that's probably a good thing.
Come on, man. I'm just a guy. Just a guy that gets security. I'm a guy that watches your back. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy that failed as a wrestler, couldn't make it, so I found another way in, doing security and protecting people.
And speaking of protecting people, I know one guy who didn't need protecting at all, but we're doing this today as a tribute to Vince Steele, and like I was saying before, the reason why I did this is I want his friends, family, anybody who just knew Vince or people who didn't know Vince to have the opportunity to come back and hear and get to know him. And I know that you and your wife Tracy knew him personally.
Yeah, Vince slept on my couch for 6 months in my house. He was in my house. He was a resident in my home for 6 months. He was a little down on his luck. He needed a place to stay. He called me, and I said, "Sure, man, come on over." Well, I picked him up, and he lived on my couch. He was part of my family. There was a reason why they called us Mama and Papa Steele, not because we were his biological parents. We were far from that. But we were his parents. We took care of him. We looked out for him.
Oh,
and, it's just the way it is, I mean, my heart goes out to any indie pro wrestler. It really does. You guys are laying it on the line, man. there's never a time when you may not walk back to that curtain ever again. And that's what rips your heart out. And people just don't understand. They just don't get it. Hopefully this can shed some light on it and make people feel a little bit better.
The thing that people don't understand, Jimmy, about independent wrestlers is that, like, we're just regular guys. Like, we're not Cody Rhodes, we're not Roman Reigns, and we're definitely not John Cena. You know, we don't make big time money. We're regular people like you. The only difference is that on our weekends we just decide to entertain you. Like, that's just what we do. You know, so it's like we have regular jobs. Like when I wrestled, I worked at Walmart as a manager. You know, I had a regular job in riding the fire truck, you know, in my town, you know, whenever I had any additional time. I was a volunteer firefighter. So like Vince Steele was a regular guy, and a random guy who lived in New York City, who, like, if you didn't know him, man, you just missed out.
It was funny because I had spoken to him not recently, a few years back, and I said, "What are you doing with yourself? Are you working?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm working in a warehouse." I said, "Why are you working in a warehouse overnight?" He said, "Because there's a lot of idiots around here who try to do stupid things, and that's what I'm here for." And it's just one of those things that sticks out in your head. If there was ever a hustle or ever money to be made, Vince would do it. He was a devout father. He loved his kids. He loved his family. When his mom left us, he was heartbroken. And to see a guy 450, 500 pounds shed a tear, it's bad. It's bad. Vince had a heart. He had a heart of gold. He loved my wife. I have pictures of him holding my children. I have pictures of my dogs sleeping on his head. One more funny story. One morning he woke me up at like 6 in the morning. He's like, "Biff, what? You got to get this dog off of me, man. This dog's been sleeping on me all night." I had a 125-pound Rottweiler pit bull who was sleeping on Vince's chest. That is no joke. That is legit. That is a true story, factual. My dog was sleeping on his chest. So he was larger than life. He was big. He had a heart. He had a heart of gold. He loved everybody. And if he didn't love you, you knew about it because he wasn't afraid to tell you. My wife is busted up over this. I love that guy. I do. I really love that guy. And I'm going to miss that guy. I'm going to miss him every day of my life. You there, Tristan?
I'm here. Tracy did call, okay. And I'll leave a message because, you know, like you said, she's busted up. So I'm definitely going to play that as well too, you know, so that, you know, she doesn't. And maybe she's watching, maybe she's not, but maybe one day she can come in and just watch from the beginning and just hear all the good things. Like Jimmy, I don't do shows this long. I really don't. Like, you know, I work a regular job. I work on the subway. I don't tell people what I do on the podcast, but I work on the subway, you know, as a conductor. And what I did was that I got home last night and I started working on this. I had the idea on the train, and just pretty much, you know, I've been up since like 5 a.m. working on this, and then when I'm done, I have to go to work. So I don't do long shows like this, but I'm going to do a long show like this to honor this man, so that whenever we feel down, whenever we miss a guy like Vince Steele, this is the show. You're going to be able to hear his voice. You're going to be able to hear everything from him. You're going to be able to hear from his friends, his family, his fans. Anybody that wants to talk, the floor is open for them today.
Yeah, you know, there's also another guy, too, who really deserves something, who really deserves to be reached out here. You guys mentioned the King?
Mention who?
The King. You guys mentioned the King?
I think we did, yeah.
I know him. I don't know if he wants me to reveal his real name, and if he does, he gets upset with me, then I apologize. Sonny Black.
Oh, yeah, Sonny Black. Yeah, I know Sonny Black.
Watching Sonny and Vince work, I had the privilege to watch those two guys work as a tag team. You want to talk about two big men getting it done? Oof. It was amazing. It was beautiful. And I'm not that type of guy. You know me, Tristan. I'm not that type of guy. I'm not a sentimental guy. I very rarely cry. I've pulled people out of burning buildings, wrecked cars. I've done a lot. I've done a lot in my life. But to watch those two guys work and watch them in the ring was very, very impressive. So if Sonny's listening, Sonny, I owed you that.
And if Sonny's listening, you know, I definitely, you know, if he wants to get on, I haven't talked to Sonny in a long time, but if he wants to get on, I can definitely give him the space if that's what he wants to do. But Jimmy, what else you got?
That's pretty much it for me right now, man. I got to get back to work. I got to make sure these streets are clean so people can drive their cars. And I just wanted to say goodbye. I wanted to say something to Vince if he's listening or he knows, and I'm pretty sure he's listening and he knows. Vince, brother, I'll see you on the other side.
Jimmy, thank you, man. Much love, man. And I will talk to you soon.
Much love, Tristan. Much love, Tristan. Hoping to keep in touch with you.
Definitely. You know, I actually, when I called you last night, I had your number in my phone. I had your number. Like it was saved. I thought it was just a caller ID, but I'm like, no, his shoot name's not Jimmy Biff. He wouldn't tell the phone company his name is Jimmy Biff. So I have your phone number. So we'll be in touch.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And I am going to subscribe and I'm going to be listening to your podcast more often.
Thank you very much.
Please do us a favor and keep this up. This is going to be great. This is going to help a lot of people get through some really, really rough times. And there's going to be some really rough times.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you, brother. Be safe. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the future.
Thanks. You too. All right. Bye.
Bye.
That was Jimmy Biff on the phone, you know, giving everybody the opportunity to say what they have to say. But like I said, you know, the most important person that I think that we should all be hearing from today is Vince Steele, of course. Let's see what's the next clip that we are going to play. So the next clip that I'm going to play is Vince is going to be talking about his very first wrestling match. And a lot of us wrestlers, well, every wrestler has a first wrestling match. And you're going to hear about his first wrestling match that was in a Bronx church gym in front of 40 people.
It was one of my backyard buddies. We did the whole spot monkey thing. We spotted out a whole match, a nice little 5-minute match that we did in training. And it was at a church, a gymnasium in Jackson Avenue in the Bronx, in front of I think about 40 people. And my opponent his wrestling name was Maximum, and we had a nice 7-minute match. It was all over public access. We were so happy about it. And you know, even though the match sucked, if you watch it now.
You know, he goes further on to tell the story in that match about his wrestling name. We all have a gimmick name that we have. Some people use their real name. Some people use a gimmick name. You know, I guess since we're being transparent and we're being real people today, Tristan Law is not my real name, but it's the name that you can Google. You can find things. So Vince talks about his first gimmick. And I would tell you, but why tell you when he could tell you himself?
My first gimmick at the time was Vinny the Pooh. I was a kid with a red tube top with Afro puffs, with a loaded Pooh Bear doll with a brick inside it.
How'd you come up with that first gimmick, Vinny the Pooh?
Man, I came up with the name, and everybody else like made the gimmick up, and then I added the hair thing because my younger sister, she was messing with hair at the time, so I let her experiment. Yeah, it was more of a joking thing, and I wanted to be the cool guy, and I was a new guy, so I got stuck with the joke gimmick.
He was Vinny the Pooh, dressed in a red shirt. Thanks to his sister. That was a joke. Going back to the chat, we actually doing a tribute show for Vince Steele, the Jurassic Juggernaut. If you're just joining us, I'm Tristan Law. I'm just doing this like I'm, doing this for his kids, his family, his friends, fans, people that know him and didn't know him. You know, I normally do half an hour shows, maybe an hour show, but so far we've been going an hour and a half already. And I just want to give everybody the opportunity to get to know who he is. What I'm doing is that earlier in the show, I had Cheyenne Ortiz, one of the voices here in the Northeast. I had Jimmy Biff, very close friend of Vince Steele. even had Andrew Magic Morgan on the phone. So we're going to get some more people on the phone here. But first, let's go back to the chat. Ryan Peterson says Vince was arguably one of the best big men in wrestling, period. Loved working with him every time. Amazing dude all around. Double hearts. Thanks, Ryan. Got another one from Miguel Macherny. Sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong. He says, Vince, thank you for your friendship. All the good advices from way back in the day. BWF, Bronx Wrestling Federation. Let's see if we can get the person that gave us a call on the phone because they want to talk. And I think that's only fair. Here we go. And how do you make this call?
Hello.
Hey, this is Tristan Law. You are live on the Tristan Law Show for the tribute show for Vince Steele. What's going on?
Man, this is terrible news, brother. Terrible news, man. One of my really good friends in wrestling is no longer with us.
Tell everyone your name.
So go ahead. Oh, so my name is Jarrell Arroyo, but I was known as the King of New York, EC Negro, and I known Vinny for about 23 years, 24 years, something to that extent. So I remember when Vinny just started in wrestling, he had a completely different gimmick, and I'm just like, I'm absolutely heartbroken for his kids. I'm heartbroken for his family. This guy loved the business so much, and at a time where the independent scene is like so competitive, he was always a good person. He didn't get into the politics stuff. He loved everybody, and really upset that he went out this way, for sure.
I think I've heard your name before. I think you were before my time, right? When did you stop wrestling?
I stopped wrestling in 2018, so okay. Not.
So we passed each other.
Too late. Yeah, we definitely passed each other for sure, but it ain't about me. It's about Vince, and right. he really was a great guy. I adored him, and I loved him very, very much, and I'm grateful that I was able to spend some time with him outside of wrestling before he passed. And I'm really devastated, man. This is definitely not good news to get that phone call about.
So one of the reasons that I'm doing this, and I know that you probably were watching for a little bit, but one of the reasons why I'm doing this because I want to memorialize him. You know, he wasn't an AEW guy, WWE guy, so not everybody is going to be able to know, but he's not going to be memorialized on Monday Night Raw tonight. I doubt it's going to happen on AEW. You know, I want to be able that his kids one day or grandkids or great grandkids come back and like, that was my dad, great granddad, grandfather. If there's one thing you want them to know about their dad, what's one thing? What would you tell them?
He did business the right way, and he genuinely loved it. A lot of guys in wrestling had ulterior motives, but this guy just loved performing. He was a great high flyer. He was very agile for his size. But like most importantly, you know, to the average fan, it's like about the performance in the ring. To someone like me, it's how you treat people in the back. And he treated people with the utmost respect. Always helpful, always willing to be there for a show, always wanted an opportunity to perform, and like to see him grow from the time that I knew him to, you know, till recently. Obviously, he grew leaps and bounds. When Cheyenne was on before, I had some of my best matches with Vince for Mike Morgan and Ace. Some really great matches, some really great memories, and he's going to be really missed, man, because you could see it all over social media, how many people are responding in a positive way. You're not seeing any negative comments. You're not seeing anybody, like the responses that he's getting is genuine because he was genuine with people. So
I'm happy that he's getting the respect that he deserves.
Wow. This is tough, man. It's tough. You got anything else you want to say about Vince?
To his kids, you know, your dad was a great guy, and he lived his life the right way. He treated everybody with respect when he could have easily walked over everybody due to his size and stature, but he was just a great human being, a very funny guy, super chill, down to earth, cared about the boys, cared about the business, and he's going to be very missed for sure.
Well, Jarrell, thank you very much. I was glad I'm able to give you the opportunity and the platform.
Yeah, you just caught me off guard. I was trying to call when Cheyenne was on because I wanted to talk with him about some of the stuff that.
Okay. Yeah, you know,
together.
I was trying to get you on earlier, but you know, Cheyenne, he is the voice.
Yeah, for sure. It would have been great to reminisce with him, but Vinny's a great guy, and just want to see his family do well. That's the most important aspect of it.
Well, thank you, my brother. I appreciate your time. And
absolutely, man. Be good.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
That was EC Negro. He's known Vince Steele for quite some time. Let's go through and continue learning about Vince Steele. Vince Steele tragically passed away. And like I said, I think one of the toughest things is that, like, he's my age. And he left kids behind. And it's like, I could never imagine leaving my son behind. And he left his kids behind. Here's a clip. So what I always do, because I'm from the Bronx, I ask people, if you're from the Bronx, there's 3 things that you should know. The first question I always ask is, where is the best place in the Bronx to get a gyro? And that place, if you ask me, is Gyro King. Okay, fine. Vince didn't get that one right because he was further down south. But I asked him, when is the best day to go to the Bronx Zoo? And anybody from the Bronx, they really know the answer. Here's what Vince had to say. If you're really from the Bronx, Vince, when is the best time to go to the Bronx Zoo?
Oh, Wednesdays, because it's free.
That's right, because it's free. Oh my God, I wish everybody could see how your face just lit up. Only people from the Bronx know that the best time to go to the Bronx Zoo is Wednesday because it's free.
But that's when they clean the tanks also, so you don't get to see all the animals.
You don't, but you know what? It's free. I got one more. Only people from the Bronx would know this one. So if you end up going to a bodega, what is the iconic animal you will see roaming around the bodega?
Oh, the house cat.
Okay, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Vince Steele is officially from the Bronx. If you go into a bodega and you see the cat sitting there, he is probably the manager. The Bronx Zoo is free on Wednesdays. And the bodega cats, they are the true store managers. So if your bacon, egg, and cheese is not right, speak to them. So going through the interview, right, like I've met Vince, but I didn't really know Vince. We never really sat down and broke bread. And throughout the interview was kind of like, just kind of like back and forth at that time. And by the time I came to this question and his eyes lit up when I asked him about the Bronx Zoo question, at that time we were having such a great time. And there's more jokes and laughter in there, and I got some more of them here for you. But going back to the chat, Fight World Live says, couldn't be a nicer person. The sweetest big guy. My prayers to his friends and family. God bless, from David Potter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking the time and saying that. We had Jimmy Biff. He called in earlier, and his wife, like he said, like Tracy, his wife, and Jimmy, Vince Steele slept on their couch for 6 months. And Tracy couldn't call in live, obviously because, it's tough for some people. But she left a message, and we're going to play that message for her now.
Night. Hey, Tristan. It's Tracy Caroselli. Sorry. This is a message that nobody ever wants to leave and nobody wants to hear. But last night, a person that we all know and love passed away doing what he loved. Vince Steele has left and is now going to watch over all of us all the time. And anybody that knew mine and Vince's relationship, yeah, we're only a couple years apart from each other, but he used to call me his Mama Steele. And my son is gone. And I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know what to feel except numb. But I want him to know that me, Jimmy, and the girls love him immensely. He will always be with us. And I want him to understand how much he was loved, and his fans, and they were his other children besides his 3 beautiful kids. He had so many other fans that looked up to him, young, old, and the things that he did as a wrestler will never be forgotten. Steele, just know Mama Steele is here, and I love you. And I'm going to miss you forever. Rest easy.
That was Tracy Caroselli. That was our Jimmy Biff's wife. Obviously, her last name's not Biff. But the thing is that despite what you say about wrestling, we know wrestling is predetermined. It's not a secret. Right? They figured it out since the 80s. And they might have known during the 70s and the 60s. But all these years later, we know what the hell wrestling is, right? Wrestling is predetermined. But there's real people in wrestling. There are real people broken up because their friend passed away yesterday. So when you see a wrestler, and it's always hate it. When people always ask me, oh, you're a wrestler? I'm a semi-retired wrestler. I'm taking a break right now. I'm going to come back one day. But the thing that always makes you upset is people like, oh, you're a wrestler? Like, is it fake? What do you mean it's fake? Like, there's people legit out there getting hurt. There's no fake injuries, right? There's no, like, there's a guy who left his house yesterday and left his kids, and he never walking back into his house for his kids to see him. So stop saying that wrestling is fake, because there's real people in it. If you want to call in and you want to leave a message, 973-826-0101. Won't be on much longer, but go ahead and leave a message. If you're a wrestler, you can definitely send a text to that number, and I'll go ahead and I'll get you on. So whatever works best for you. You know, if you're a fan, if you're watching this right now and you want to get on, I'm just going to open up the floor to anybody. If you want to get on, just shoot that number a text. 973-826-0101. We'll go ahead and we'll get you on. I'm not doing this for likes. I'm not doing this for clout. I'm not doing this for the attaboy. I'm doing it for a man who left his house yesterday, doing something that he loved, and he's never going to be able to come back home. For his children, who probably saw their daddy walk away and said, I'll see you later. It's a term that we just throw around. I'll see you later. And we always hope that we see each other later. I want that anybody, if you don't know Vince Steele, by the end of this, when I'm done, I'm going to be done at 2 o'clock. I think 2 hours is good. But if anybody is here at 1:59 and they say, hey, I want to be on, you know what? Fine, we're going to extend this. Okay? But I want anybody, if you don't know Vince Steele, you're going to know who the heck Vince Steele is. If you knew Vince Steele and you didn't know a lot of parts about Vince Steele, because you got to know, we all know each other differently. We all don't, like there's people that, like Cheyenne knows me one way. The people that are watching this might know me another way, because you might know me just as Tristan Law. You don't know me as like my regular everyday self. But you know what? You're going to be able to get to know Vince Steele from different angles. You're not only knowing the wrestler, you are knowing who the man is by the end of this. Let's go to another thing. So one of the things that me and Vince, we bonded over was our love for food. And I love food. If you know me, I love food. And listening to the story that Cheyenne was telling earlier in the show, Vince loves food too. So we talked about going to the buffet. And I could tell you the story, but it's not about me. It's about Vince Steele.
Oh, man. I am a big buffet guy. Anywhere there's a buffet, I'm there. Maryland Buffet, Hibachi, Golden Corral, since there's 2 in the Bronx now.
Yes, I remember,
and I
yes.
can't wait till this pandemic is over, where I'm going to sit my ass in Golden Corral and have me some steak.
I remember my first buffet that I ever went to was the Chinese buffet on 3rd Ave and 149.
Maryland Buffet.
Oh, that's
Come
what it's
in and
called?
Check it out.
I don't even know the name of it. I just know we always just call it, hey, we're going to the Chinese buffet on 149th and 3rd. Okay, cool. I knew exactly where we were going.
The cheapest spot until this day is still the cheapest place to eat. I remember it used to be $4.25 to eat in. All you can eat. I get my money's worth. I tell you that much.
You ever been to Golden Corral for breakfast?
No, not breakfast. No.
You should try it. My mouth watered. It's good. You should try it.
I had Golden Corral for Father's Day this year in Florida. And then when I realized they came out with that big set, and I legit had like 10 pounds of steak. I'm not even shitting you. I think I had like 7 or 8 of those steaks. They were like 1.5 inches thick, bro. I was like, wow. And then I got my bro with me. He's just as big, but he's into the sweets. He saw the chocolate fountain and went crazy. Done gone and embarrassed me. He's screaming out, "Vince, look, they got a chocolate fountain, bro. They got a chocolate fountain." I'm like, oh no.
That part just cracks me up every single time. Every single time. Like I said, once we started talking about the Bronx and stuff like that, and we started talking about food, you know, Vince was definitely cracking me up. Good guy, man. Good guy. Good guy. He wasn't just a great wrestler. He was a fun guy, funny guy. You know, somebody you can laugh with, somebody you can enjoy life with, somebody you can eat with. And that was a guy that I want to sit down and have a meal with. You know, could I do 50 wings? I could try, but I might hurt myself. But you know what? I definitely would have sat there and laughed. And that would have been a heck of a story to tell. Let's see if we got any more messages. No more messages. Let's see if we got anybody on the phone has tried calling in. Nope. Nobody else. All right. So let's just keep this, as they say, keep this train moving. We're going to take a look at a clip, and we're going to listen to a clip actually. It was about his pro wrestling goals. We all have goals when we come into pro wrestling, right? We all want to go to WrestleMania. You know, we all want to wrestle for WWE. We all don't just want to go to WrestleMania. We want to be in the main event. So, you know, in this clip, Vince talks about his goals in pro wrestling and other stuff like that. But, you know, like I said, I can tell you, but it's not about me. It's about Vince.
Before I left the original relationship I was in, the goal was to make it to WWE. But since I'm at a certain age right now, if WWE comes knocking, I'll take the opportunity, but I'm not gonna kill myself to go out there. Like that's not the main goal. Main goal is to make a living off of professional wrestling, so I don't have to work a legit shoot job. That's the true goal of mine. And then if I do live a fulfilled and meaningful wrestling career, I want to jump into pretty much doing my own promoting and being a promoter myself and give guys a chance that never had a chance before. Because I'm also one of those guys. I've been in the wrestling scene for 20 years, and the past 4 years is when I've been making my name for myself.
This interview was 5 years ago. This is in 2020. So Vince Steele was in the pro wrestling business for, let's say, 25 years. And when he's talking about his shoot job, right? We call you know, our real job our shoot job. Like I said, indie wrestlers, we are your people that work at Walmart. We are your people that work on the subway. We are your people that work at the gas station. We're the people that work at the bank to where you put your money in, right? We're regular people. You know, most of us, we don't make a lot of money. We do it because we love it. People say, why do you do it if you don't make so much money? People ask me, oh, did you make a lot of money being a wrestler? If I made a lot of money being an independent wrestler, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you, right? So when you see an independent pro wrestling event in your town, go check it out. When you see a poster of wrestling and it's not WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA, MLW, go check it out, right? Because there's guys in there that just like me and Vince that wanted to go to WWE, but eventually, we know that we just became too old. There, you could be seeing the future stars of tomorrow. Go check out the indie wrestling show. So Vince was talking about, in this next clip, about his hustle. He worked 2 full-time jobs while he was wrestling. Some people were working 1 full-time job and trying to wrestle. He worked 2 full-time jobs. Here's the clip of that.
Before anything, man, I was working 2 jobs, 2 full-time jobs, and maintaining a wrestling career. And unlike most, I've been actually wrestling since this pandemic. So I actually been able to wrestle. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys haven't, and I'm able to maintain 2 jobs and do that. So I don't want to hear guys say, "Oh, I don't have enough time." If you want it, you got to do it. You do what you have to do to get what you want at the end of the day. It's really all up to you and how you strive yourself and how you see yourself making it. Like, I tell you, like, Vince can offer me a contract tomorrow. I'm going to take the opportunity.
If you want it, you got to do it. Wise words from Vince Steele. I think I want to take those words. If you want it, you got to do it. You got to put the work in. I'm going to take those words. I'm going to put those words up somewhere here in the studio, because if I want it, I know what I want, and I got to do it. But Vince worked harder than most. 2 jobs and then wrestle? He didn't just dream. He was a hustler. Like Jay-Z said, I'm a hustler, baby. And I want you to know Vince Steele was a hustler. And I want you all to know that. We're getting ready to close the curtain on this special show. I don't do shows on Monday very rarely, but when I heard this yesterday, I just had to do something. I'm a semi-retired wrestler, Tristan. I'm not going to go into the ring, but this is my contribution to his friends, his family, his fans, just so that you could know who he is. If you've been watching this since we started at 12 p.m., noon Eastern, you had your phone down, as you go through the day, I apologize to your boss. We're almost done here. We're doing something really special today. If you caught this late, don't worry. Go back to the beginning and watch it again. To his kids, people are saying that Daddy loved you. I played the clips to where he talked about you to his one son. That was 6 at the time when we did the interview in 2020, who's now, I'm presuming, 11. And how much he loves hearts and stuff like that. And how he's watching videos on hearts. Listen to me, little man. If you still like that, whatever your passion is, if that's still your passion, go be a doctor. Because you're going to make your daddy proud. Go be a doctor. In the beginning, I played a clip. Let me check the phone. I want to make sure everybody has their opportunity. If they want to call in, or if they want to text or leave a voice message. It's funny. Magic called in earlier at about 12 o'clock and he couldn't get through. But let me play that message because, even though Magic was on, sometimes we just don't get all the words out because it's such a tragic loss. Vince Steele was 39 years old. We're just saying words, right? Maybe we didn't get all the words out. So let's go ahead and play this message for Magic. And, even though he was already on, and let's see what he has. Oh, so now you're not going to play?
Hey, man, this is Magic. Vince Steele was an amazing kid. I watched him grow up from the doghouse with Lathan, Homicide. It was so many cats there, including myself. He was a young kid, big young kid, and he was light on his feet. He was more, in his heart, a lightweight wrestler. I've been his tag team partner. I've been his manager. You know, I've been around this for a while. You know, we wanted to hit each other. You know, in a way. My love goes out to his family and all his friends. Yeah.
That was magic again. Let me tell you this. I want, in the beginning, the first clip I played was, who is Vince Steele? And that was one of the most powerful questions that I always ask when I do an interview here on the Tristan Law Show. I don't usually tell people I'm going to ask that question because I want to catch them off guard. I want that to be as organic could be. Because when you have time to think about it, who you are, you can craft an answer. But when it's on the spot, you're freestyling and it's right off your head. And I think it's more genuine that way. So the last clip that we're going to play is who is Vince Steele? Because I want everybody to remember who Vince Steele was.
Wow. Vince Steele is a father of 3, going individual who has goals set for himself and will fulfill them to the best of his abilities. And I'm one tough-ass wrestler, too.
Father of 3, man. Very cool. What if your kids want to do wrestling? Would you let them?
I let them. I explained to them how hard it is. I explained. You guys barely see me when I'm on the road and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I got a soccer player, I got a football player in the works, and then my youngest one, he's into hearts. I got a heart surgeon.
Oh,
he likes the way the heart looks. He tells me this, and I catch him watching YouTube videos on the way the heart beats and the electrifying. I'm like, what the hell? So kid is amazing. He's only 6.
Vince Steele, Vince, the Jurassic Juggernaut. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was a father, a friend, a mentor, a man who gave his all. Through this tribute that we did today, everybody that called in, text, messaged, whatever you did, however you reached me today, we're ensuring that his memory never fades. But for Vince, his story doesn't end here. It lives on in his children, the people he inspired, the memories he left behind, and the lessons he taught us about heart, resilience, and passion. Every time a wrestler steps into the ring, or every time you watch a match, or every time you just push forward against the odds, Vince will be right there. To Vince's family and his friends and everyone who had the privilege of knowing him, I want to say thank you for sharing Vince Steele with us. And to Vince, big man, thanks for coming on my podcast. And thanks for everything that you gave. Rest in power, Jurassic Juggernaut.